Hello, welcome to Across the Park podcast, back on location at one of my favourite places now, Finch Farm, to speak to two members of the Everton first team of the Everton women. The reason we're down here is because today, general sale, evertonfc.com for the Merseyside Derby, Sunday 24th of March, £12 for adults, and get on this, £2 for kids, £2 to take your kids to Goodison Park to get behind Everton women in the Merseyside Derby. We're going to be back down here before that game, but I'm delighted to be here on general sale launch day with two members of the first team, Lucy Hope and Clare Wheeler. How are you guys? Thanks for joining the podcast. Are you okay?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks.
All good. I've got some specific questions for you both, and then we'll get into maybe going towards the Goodison Derby. Start with you, Claire. You played in the Goodison Derby last year, where records were made. Sky Sports were down there on a Friday evening, and record crowds. We're hoping for more of the same. I think the time of the kickoff might get more fans in. What was that like, looking back, like for you to play at Goodison in a derby with that crowd?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite moments in the WSL thus far for me, and I think having football under the lights was great, and not only that, playing at Goodison. It's I think now this season as well, with obviously Goodison coming to an end and the new stadium being built, so it's even more special to have that memory there, and to remain unbeaten there would be great. I'd keep going. Yeah.
Please keep on beating. Please, no pressure, but stay unbeaten. It's bad enough watching the men get beat by them all the time. You girls are like our hope now. We latch onto you girls. But Lucy, you played at Anfield, and not only played at Anfield, but the scorer of the goal that gave Everton the victory that day. As a Merseyside Derby memory for you in the blue shirt, what was that like to score past Liverpool?
Yeah, it feels like obviously quite a while since it's happened, but it seems to be quite a marker in history of Everton women. It's one of the first times that we went to Anfield, and two that we've beat them.
Absolutely.
So I think that started the kind of catalyst of our victories against them, home and away. So obviously on a personal level it was great to score at Anfield, even better to get the result on the day. But like you say, we just want to keep doing that and keep doing that against them. Regardless of how well the season goes, you can always still latch onto them kind of victories, and we still speak about them seasons down the line. So
for the personal level, it was great for me as well. Trust me, when you beat Liverpool, it's everything for me, whether it's the men or the women. Were you excited this week when the news came out that it's going to be Goodison Park?
Oh yeah, of course. Things had been bubbling under the surface in terms of like little whispers going round and saying it could be getting held there. Like Claire alluded to earlier, it could be one of the last times that we get to play there. I know it's not going to be there forever, so to be playing at such a historical ground, and it may be one of the last chances, we're looking to get the win there.
Yeah, same for you, Claire. When you heard the news this week that it's going to be Goodison Park again, was that a nice feeling to know that you're going back for that?
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's really good for the women's side of the game. At Walton Hall Park we get a good crowd every week, but having the capacity at Goodison, and last year getting 22,000 there was
huge.
great, and hopefully, obviously, this year we beat that. But just having the capacity to allow people to come watch us play in such a space as Goodison is, and it's great for us as players as well, because it's all our dreams to play in those kind of fields and those kind of matches.
I was down there before the Conti Cup game at Liverpool, which is at Walton Hall Park, and I meant what I said then. I thought that Walton Hall Park was a special place. Great to play a derby there, but I can't lie, when I see the women playing in front of such good crowds, and Sky Sports covering it, and the media, Everton allow us to come down and speak to you, is it a bit surreal? A bit of a pinch me moment that you think, wow, this is, because 5 years ago it wasn't like that, was it?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you asked me when I was like 15, and I would have been like, oh wow, like that. I couldn't really imagine that for myself. But like now going forward, I think we're seeing more and more games being played at these big stadiums, and we're getting big crowds doing that. So. I hope it carries on in the future, and we can see more and more of women's games in the men's stadiums with large crowds.
I think that's where women's football belongs, in my honest opinion. I think we're ready to make that transition, and there's a hunger for the game, and there's tickets get sold left, right and centre. You see other teams selling out 50,000 people like stadiums, and for me, I think it should become a more common occurrence.
Does it feel maybe a silly question, but does it feel different, the build up? When you're playing at Walton Hall Park to Goodison Park, Monday to Friday here, does it feel different?
I think there's an expectation there. If you know that there's potentially 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people coming to watch you, there's definitely an expectation there.
Yeah.
And I think that increases the performance, because your level of detail, your focus, and it's hard to recreate that without being put under that pressure.
No, that's fair.
So it's hard to kind of manufacture the feeling of 30,000 eyes on you when there's only 3.
Yeah, of course.
So like it's just like to me it's just like science. It's just once there's pressure under you, it's surprising how well you can perform under that pressure when your hand's forced and you're just like, well, I just have to do it now. So.
Oh, that's a fair point. And I think it's a great atmosphere, whether it's Walton Hall. I've watched you girls at both Walton Hall Park and Goodison Park, and I think it's always been a great atmosphere. It's a family event sort of thing. You're like superstars at the end, taking selfies with the children. I've got a 2-year-old little girl. It's going to be her first game. That's going to be her first game. And I've said this before, I'd be so proud of her, just as proud of her to captain Everton as I would my little boy. There's no difference in it for me. And I think a lot of people are coming round to that now. Like, passionate Evertonians, you girls know what the home crowd is like. I just want to introduce them a little bit to you, some of the fans who are maybe going to come the first game. The Derby's going to be the first game. Clare, you're playing for Fortuna Horing, I think I've got that right, a few years back. And I always say maybe pre-COVID, around 2019, is when I personally think the women's game started getting the coverage it deserved. When you were abroad and you were seeing it, were you a little bit like, ooh, let me get over there?
Yeah, definitely. I think, being an Australian, seeing the girls make the transition, like Caitlin and Sam from America to come to England, it definitely shifted my focus. Like, oh wow, like a lot of the girls have moved over to this league, and I started watching it, and I saw kind of where it was heading and the investment in that area, and you're seeing it now with the amount of Australians coming in this league. Like, we all want to get over here, and that's how competitive it is for internationals to want to get into this league, because they know it's like arguably the best in the world. It's really competitive, and the facilities and the investment is there. And for me, I just knew I really want to get over here as soon as possible.
And a little bit different for you, Lucy, because at that period I've said there, 2019, and then up to this present day, you were here.
Yep. You
were part of it. What did it feel like? Did it feel like, whoa, there's a bit of a wave behind us here, it's getting big?
Yeah, I think so. When I moved, obviously, then from Scotland, I feel like my journey's been very progressive in terms of, like, I went up and down and went up and down. I've went from playing amateur football in Scotland to making my debut for Bristol, who at the time, had a bit of a shoestring budget. We're working very, very hard to compete. We've done really well. I had a great season myself there. Was given the opportunity to come here. Again, for me, I seen that as a progression. Came here, and I've been here ever since, because I feel like the ambition of the club is so high that, again, it's matching where the WSL wants to go. For me, I feel like it's been a steady progression, and I feel like there's still ceilings to.
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to watching you both do it. And I mean that. I'm down at the grounds, Walton Hall Park, most weeks watching you, and my children are just as happy. I said to David off air before, a little side story, we watched you on Sunday against Chelsea. My little boy was devastated. Like, he was just as devastated. I thought you played really well. I think a lot of things went against us that day. But Liverpool's men's team lost that day, so my little boy was primed for Everton. Then he sees it as the same. He sees there's no difference in men and women, and that's how my daughter will be brought up. And I think that's what you guys should be so proud of. The next generation will be brought up like that. There's no difference. And playing at Goodison can only help. And I really do hope that we get a bumper crowd, more than last season's. But when I spoke to the club and they told me it was going to be you two women who I could interview, it was quite strange, because at Anfield, one goes off, one comes on, and everyone doesn't know, you went off quite early, a minute in. Our midfielder comes on and plays fullback, and we end up winning the most Everton thing ever, really. Are you looking forward to playing together in this one?
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'd like to hope so, I've missed the last few derbies, unfortunately, through injury and stuff like that. But yeah, this one, the most recent one particularly, obviously I sustained quite a heavy injury, so I was absolutely devastated. But I was sitting at the side absolutely thrilled, because I thought the girls played absolutely out of their skin and deserved to win. So that was definitely a great painkiller that night.
I bet it was. For anyone who's watching this and they're sort of maybe just discovering the women's game, what can they expect from Goodison Park? You've played in it, Clare, and you're going to play in Goodison Park Derby. What can they expect coming down? It's going to be a Merseyside derby, but it's also family friendly, isn't it? It's going to be a really good day. Can you let everyone know who's going to come down to the derby, just what you think it's going to be like at Goodison Park that day? I'll start. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think from last time I remember it just being like loud. I think that's the thing, like Evertonians really get behind, effort and intent, and they love when you're seeing people running after the ball and putting in a hard tackle and everything like that. And it's infectious as players, hearing that noise and getting behind it. And yeah, that's one memory that I have just from Goodison, just the noise.
Yeah. Would it mean a lot to you, Lucy, for the big crowd to get behind the team?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Like, Evertonians are just daft on football, so when they bring that enthusiasm, like you say, it's so infectious, and it definitely kind of bleeds onto the pitch. We definitely hear it. Again, it's just enthusiastic. It's fun more than anything. I get it, like results are obviously very important for us, but for kids coming along, as long as they enjoy it, maybe inspired to go and kick a ball or play with their friends. I think that's something that the women's game really tries to push, is that it's so inclusive. Little boys, little girls, regardless of their age, come and play, come and see football, just come and watch it. And again, the fact that it's £2 a ticket for kids.
Oh, brilliant.
You know, what an incentive to come along and come to a big stadium where it's not going to be there forever.
Exactly,
so, like,
you get me emotional here. It's not going to be there forever.
It's not, though. It's like, get yourselves along and just come and enjoy the atmosphere.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm going to be back down here next week before a big home game against West Ham. I've also got Forest as well, but we're going to park that. The Merseyside Derby is on general sale, and I wish you girls all the best. And thank you so much for joining us on the Across the Park podcast.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, everybody, get down to evertonfc.com. Like the women have said there, it's £2 to take your children. Goodison won't be here forever. I think they've got one more season left, and who knows what will happen next season, the way the women's game's going. Probably be played at Wembley or Mars or something, the way it's going. So please get down to Goodison Park, evertonfc.com. Tickets are on general sale today. Girls, at the end of the Merseyside Derby, I'm going to find you and we're going to end the game on this. Up them toffees.
Up the toffees. Nice.